Greg Jennings Bowl, 12-3 Vikings, 3-point underdogs in Lambeau Sunday afternoon. Must win for the Pack. So, Greg, do you expect the Rodgers to keep playoff hopes alive? And before you answer, know that Speak on After Us asked a similar question and felt the wrath of Wheezy F Baby afterwards, saying to everyone on Speak, please keep that same energy if the Pack make it to the playoffs. So, Greg, tread carefully. Okay. You believe in the Packers?
In this game this week, I do, with the caveat.
Okay.
Christian Watson. If he plays, I pick the Packers.
And he's going to be a game time decision.
And he will be a game time decision. If he does not play, I can't pick this team. Because Aaron Rodgers and this offense looks a lot better, and they are better with Christian Watson in that lineup. How full circle did this come? How full circle did this come? Look at these numbers. Completion percentage with, yards per pass with, passing rating with, and then look at without. Now, we all recount the time, week one, their first offensive possession. Who'd they throw that deep ball to?
Christian Watson.
Who didn't make that play? And who didn't Aaron Rodgers lean back into that entire game?
Put him in timeout for 6 weeks.
And now all of a sudden, this young man is really, truly the key to the success of this offense. Not just in the passing game, but in the running and the jet sweep game. His speed has been electrifying when you look at their success offensively. It gives them a huge advantage, I think, with Patrick Peterson, the way he's played all year. He's been, look, Pat P, I love you. You've been saying a lot of prayers because he's gotten beat a lot this year that either the receiver dropped the ball or the pass thrower overthrew him. So in this week, if Christian Watson plays, I go with Packers.
See, I think you're focused on the wrong receiver cornerback.
I'm not.
Jair Alexander, maybe he didn't mean to, but he talked a little bit of trash.
He did.
I believe him that when he said fluke, he wasn't acting like Justin Jefferson's not awesome, but he called Justin Jefferson baptizing him in week one something of a fluke. The problem is this. The last 3 games, every game Justin Jefferson has played against the Packers since his rookie season, he has, in those last 3 games, 4 touchdowns, 411 yards. He has annihilated this matchup. And I think that right now, because the Packers are on a 3-game winning streak, we have overrated how well Rodgers has played and how good they actually are. In the first game of the winning streak against the Bears, who are going to have the first or the second pick of the draft, they were down 19-10 against the Bears going into the fourth quarter. And then Watson went off, actually, and is what turned that game around. They dominated the Rams, and I give them credit for that. That was Baker's second game there. And against Miami, they won the turnover battle 4-1. They were +3 in the plus-minus after Tua started throwing the ball to them. For the record, 33 times this year in the NFL, a team has won the turnover battle by at least 3. Those teams are 32-1. The only team to overcome it is, of course, the Chiefs, because this is the type of things they do. But other than that, you can't lose if you're +3. If you're +3 in the turnover battle.
That was an amazing bit of television.
What do you mean?
You turn the ball over.
I'm just telling you, 32-1. People, America's probably wondering who's the one. What's the one team to overcome it? Happens to be quarterbacked by Patrick Mahomes. I just like to inform the audience, paint the whole picture. I'm just letting you know.
Who gave up the turnover?
They were fumbled, punt returns, things like that. It wasn't Patrick. Doesn't worry about that. Here's the point. Point is this. Green Bay's looked impressive to me once all year. The Cowboys game. The fourth quarter of the Cowboys game, down 28-14, fourth quarter in overtime. And if we could show you Aaron's numbers on the winning streak, I did this earlier in the week, but I just want to reiterate it. They are not winning because Aaron turned a corner.
Boring.
He's been those numbers are worse than his season-long numbers, and his season-long numbers were the worst of his career. So I think Minnesota's going to win. I think Minnesota's better. I think Minnesota's played better all year. I think Minnesota's the best player on the field in Justin Jefferson. I think Minnesota's going to win.
Can I read some? It's the Vikings' defense is terrible. Recent quarterbacks against the Vikings. Daniel Jones goes for 334. Goff goes for 425 and 2 touchdowns. Mike White, who we had to jettison, poor Zach Wilson, 369. And, Greg, you know who else had a career game?
Who was that?
Oh, the dirtiest player in the league. Oh, you dirty, dirty dog, Mac Jones. 382 and 2 touchdowns. So if there was ever a nice little recipe for Aaron Rodgers to get right, isn't it that Vikings defense? He doesn't have to have this hey, 225, 1 touchdown. I'm Aaron Rodgers.
Here's the thing, Greg. The Vikings defense is bad. They're not as bad as the Bears defense. And Rodgers hasn't thrown for 260 yards once all year. Like
that true?
Yeah. I said it. It's definitely true. Just like, again, the only team to overcome 3 turnover deficit this year is the Chiefs.
260 doesn't seem
He hasn't thrown for 260 once all year. And so I think the narrative on Monday is going to be, well, damn, I guess we get one game to see Jordan Love play? That seems like a wasted opportunity.
This guy loves Jordan Love.
No, I like trying to get information when you can get it. And the Packers trying to trick themselves into thinking they were going to go from 4-8 to the playoffs has make them squander what could be the only silver lining of the season. That's it.
They saw Jordan Love against the Chiefs.
But he played again this year and he was good.
Okay, so can I say something really quick?
Please.
Because this game is played where?
In Lambeau.
Oh, yeah, it's played in Lambeau. The reason why I picked the Packers to lose week 1 is because I didn't think that they would have the chemistry, the continuity ready to play against a team that I felt like was going to be a well-oiled machine, and particularly offensively in the Minnesota Vikings.
I mean, you had him going to the Super Bowl.
Now,
I think, so,
no, he did not. He had him winning the division.
I did not. And I had Kirk Cousins as my dark horse MVP, which he's kind of sharing that still because of Justin Jefferson's play.
Sure.
Anyway, but when you look at what the Green Bay Packers are doing right now, it's not really truly about Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers needs help. Yeah. Just like Tom Brady needs help, just like a lot of quarterbacks need help. Christian Watson, his impact, being there, his presence, and now that everyone knows that defense, and particularly their passing game, is horrendous, dead last. You put him out there, you pose him as a threat, no matter where he's at on the field, you have defenders thinking about what are they going to do with him. It creates opportunities for other guys. It opens up their running game. It just adds another element. It doesn't add pressure to Aaron Rodgers. It just puts pressure on a defense because now you have to pay attention to everybody if he's out there.
All right, let's turn our attention to Greg's MVP, Kirk Cousins.
Dark horse.
Dark horse.
Well,
Justin Jefferson
went to bat for Kirk Cousins, tweeting this at another show. All the Kirk criticism has to stop, ! I understand you hate the dad swag. I personally like it a little
Yeah,
bit.
of course.
But come on, his numbers are right with your MVP candidates.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
Justin Jefferson is an MVP candidate.
Yeah,
so
everybody, he's got a lot of MVP takes. What's the question here, Wildes? What are we asking about?
I don't know. I just thought it was like a semi-shot at Mahomes, and then we could just turn you loose.
No, listen, I just think the idea, Kirk Cousins is one of the only athletes that everyone agrees on, and everyone's right. He's fine.
Not Justin Jefferson.
Well, yeah, but that's his teammate.
And he has 123 catches and 17.
I mean, listen, everyone knows that Kirk Cousins is just good enough for you to be like, he's okay. He can win a division.
High-end Derek Carr.
I think he is in that. They row in the same boat together. And I think that also
I take Kirk over Derek Carr.
What?
I take Kirk over.
Yeah, I agree with you. But I think if we're doing like a quarterback tiers type of thing,
a good segment.
I think Carr and Cousins are in that same tier, which is if he's your quarterback, you're probably not wanting to move on from. I know the Raiders just didn't move on from Carr, or they are, but also you expect him to cost you in the playoffs. So I think the Vikings, I think everyone in the media understands. Hey, Kirk's fine. And also, Kirk will probably
don't say everybody in the media.
But also probably understand Kirk will be the reason but they also understand, Greg, Kirk will probably be the reason they lose. Like that if they get to round 2 against San Francisco, Kirk will have 2 interceptions and probably a lost fumble and they lose. Like he's not a big game player and he's just fine.
I disagree with you there this year. I don't think Kirk will be the reason they lose. I think their defense will be the reason that they lose because they're just that poor as far as in the passing game. Kirk Cousins is properly rated. Like he's not, he doesn't tip the scale to give them wins. You don't look at Kirk Cousins and say, we got Kirk, we're going to be fine.
Exactly.
That's the problem with Kirk Cousins. And nothing that he does outside of after they win and putting on the chains and all the little dances and all that, you look at him and say, man, that guy, he's putting on a show. Yeah, you're right. That's it.
That's actually why it's interesting. Like, look, he kind of looks like the guy.
The reason why Kirk Cousins is having so much success
is because
they got the best receiver in football right now.
MVP.
Yeah, MVP.
Candidate. MVP candidate.
No, he's the MVP.
Well, Greg, that's a strong take for the end of 2022.
So Nick didn't even. He can't even look me in the eyes. He's not even.
Tom Brady. Big news next. First things first. I like that tease. Big news coming up next. Who knows?
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.